This video is all about Cynthia Erivo, which likely comes as no shock to Miss Erivo since she already thinks that literally everything is about her. Hello, I'm Marvin, and I'm the Movie Monster. Wicked was on a tear at the box office when it released in November, and a lot of people thought it was destined for greatness.
Everybody hands go up, and they stay there, and they stay there.
Well, not so much. While the movie definitely made money, it's effectively stalled at the box office. Its momentum came to a screeching halt amid stiff competition from Gladiator 2, Moana 2, Mufasa the Lion King, and Sonic 3. Damn, Hollywood, get some new ideas. Anyway, we're not here to talk about diminishing box office returns. We're here to talk about what else? Cynthia Erivo, the controversial star of the film. Now, she's basically what Rachel Zegler is going to become when she absorbs two other ridiculous attention-seeking out-of-touch brats and evolves into her perfect form. Now, Cynthia Erivo plays Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West in this movie, though to be more accurate, Elphaba is playing Cynthia Erivo, because in every interview and every wild tone-deaf tantrum Cynthia Erivo has spat out leading up to and since this movie, she's made it clear that everything is about her specifically. Editing a poster is wild and offensive because it erases her. Elphaba needed micro braids because it had to connect to her. Every choice made in the lead up to this release was made to make Elphaba reflect Cynthia Erivo. Now, specifically, it all centers around her identity as a black and queer woman. She's made that abundantly clear, even going so far as to insinuate that she's uniquely qualified for this role because of her race and sexuality. But when someone else tries to insinuate that she was qualified for the role uniquely because of these things, well, suddenly she's no longer super keen on the idea. But, dear friends, it gets worse because it seems as though the sequel, titled Wicked for Good for some stupid-ass reason, is gonna inject itself with a great big dose of a lot more Cynthia Erivo. What's she up to now? Find out today on Tooney TV. All right, so our old friend Cynthia Erivo back in the news. This from That Park Place, written by myself, M. Montanero, yours truly. Wicked star Cynthia Erivo dismisses diversity hire allegations, but infuses performance with her identity. She's a walking contradiction, folks. So a month after the release of the blockbuster film Wicked, Cynthia Erivo is once again addressing her detractors who believe that she was a DEI hire. In a recent interview with Elle, the actress behind Elphaba tackled renewed claims that she was chosen simply to meet, quote, woke or diversity requirements. Despite stating, I had to audition just like everybody else, fans and critics remain divided, especially as Erivo has repeatedly highlighted her own background and perspective as being vital to the role. Erivo told Elle, I have the credentials for it. I've done the work, but I'm glad I had to audition because it allows me to take this and to know that I had to work really hard for it. Her supporters point to her award-winning background recognition on stage, screen, and music as proof that she earned the part of Elphaba. However, some detractors argue that Erivo's laser focus on her personal identity in interviews has undermined her own claim that it was purely an audition-based decision. It became very clear before this film ever came out that Cynthia Erivo saw this character as an extension of herself, with constant references in interviews to connecting Elphaba with her own race and sexuality. In an earlier interview with Variety, Erivo explained, I didn't want to remove myself from Elphaba. I wanted to connect the two. She even chose off-black micro braids for Elphaba, diverging from the stage musical signature long wavy black locks. According to Erivo, that nod was meant to reflect what was underneath the green. Now, this is the problem, guys. Who cares what's underneath the green? Nobody cares. You're not supposed to be reflecting who you are as an actor when you're playing a character like this. I'm not supposed to see Cynthia Erivo when I look up there. That's the Christopher Walken effect. When I watch Christopher Walken in something or Nicolas Cage in something, and all I see is Christopher Walken and Nicolas Cage, that's a thing against them. I'm not supposed to look there. I'm supposed to see Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West, a girl in Oz who is green and a college student. Instead, I'm looking up there seeing 37-year-old Cynthia Erivo, who does not look like a college student at all, standing up there being Cynthia Erivo, because that's what she wants you to see. I hope it's a bit of a love letter to everyone who feels different, who feels out of place, to all the black women who have walked into rooms and felt like they haven't been welcome. Everybody knows what it's like to feel othered. Everybody has felt out of place in a room before. That is not a unique thing to specific people, Cynthia. And when you try to pigeonhole it, you alienate segments of the audience the way you've done. To anyone who's walked into a room and felt like they haven't been welcomed, I'm really glad to be the conduit for which this character has been brought to the world. Yeah, she's the conduit, guys. She's the one. She brings it to all of you because she is the benevolent Cynthia Erivo, and she has descended from on high to grant the world her stellar performance in Wicked. By the way, she's the worst thing in Wicked. Ariana Grande is the best thing in Wicked by far. I mean, that girl can sing, that girl can act. That girl is the whole package. Cynthia Erivo. I mean, all I did while sitting there listening to Cynthia Erivo was I was just very aware that she wasn't Adina Menzel, becomes even more noticeable when Adina Menzel shows up. And you're just like, why didn't they just de-age her? Because when she shows up, she has got a stage presence that Cynthia Erivo cannot duplicate. Now, some critics feel that if Erivo's casting truly had nothing to do with external factors, she wouldn't emphasize her personal background to such an extent, and calling herself the conduit that allows Black women to feel accepted makes it sound as though she's placing a ton of social significance on herself and on her performance. Yeah, you think? She absolutely is. That's exactly what she's doing. All you did was you put green makeup on and you stood in front of a camera, lady. You're not a civil rights hero. Now, actors typically play characters and embody those characters. However, Erivo's goal with Elphaba was seemingly to force the character to embody her. Erivo connected her identity to the character to such an extent that an inconsequential fan edit like poster caused her to fly off the handle in an unhinged social media tantrum that became the talk of Tinseltown for several months. The Broadway poster famously shows Glinda whispering into Elphaba's ear, partially obscuring their faces. The film version, by contrast, reveals both actors' faces. While some fans appreciated this approach for showcasing the two stars, others missed the iconic stage version's mysterious quality and wanted to create a version of the poster that could elicit that nostalgic rush that many feel for the long-running Broadway show. And so now here it is. This is the wildest, most offensive thing I have ever seen, equal to that awful AI of us fighting. She goes on to say, it degrades me. It degrades us. Good Lord. So when a fan shared it, she flew off the handle, publicly denounced it, called it the wildest, most offensive thing she'd ever seen, called the fan edit degrading. It's not clear who the us in her statement was in reference to. Now, some believe it was a reference to co-star Ariana Grande, whose face was also partially concealed. However, it should be noted Ariana Grande did not freak out about this poster. She didn't care. I think when she was asked about it in an interview, she kind of laughed it off. However, others believe the collective us might have referred to all Black women or all queer women. Like it's insane how she thinks that she is just like this leader of a movement. The original poster is an illustration, Erivo said. Yeah, an illustration that people like. I am a real-life human being who chose to look down the barrel of the camera to you, the viewer, because without words, we communicate with our eyes. Our poster is an homage, not an imitation. To edit my face and hide my eyes is to erase me, and that is just deeply hurtful. It's around that time that Ariana Grande would weirdly try to hold her hand and rub it a bunch. I'm just basing that on every interview the two of them have done. Now, this was a social media post, obviously not an interview, but she cried. The two of them cried and like groped at each other in every single interview. Throughout her short diatribe, which many decry as incredibly narcissistic, you think, Erivo uses the words I, me, us, our, we, and my a total of 11 times. Despite the ongoing Wicked DEI discussions, production for Wicked for Good continues with a scheduled release date in November 2025. Now, Riva's portrayal garnered both praise and pushback the first time around, suggesting that the sequel may stir further controversies about her artistic choices and level of self-involvement within the role. My biggest problem with her performance was she kept trying to jazz up music that didn't need to be jazzed up. Like, she kept trying to, like, add trills to her voice and just kind of, like, take it to places that, Dina Menzel never really took it, which I mean, I'm all for making the role your own, but again, she's trying to make the role her, and that's a completely different, that's something completely different here. But we're not done. The story is not done because Wicked for Good will feature a song co-written by Cynthia Erivo. Oh my goodness. So following the release, Universal's adaptation of the Broadway mega hit of the same name has elicited some excitement. Now, Cynthia Erivo is not only reprising her role as Elphaba, but also co-writing a new original song. While many are thrilled by her vocal abilities, I mean, some are. Mrs. Movie Monster loves this movie, by the way. She didn't want to go see it, and I made her go see it because I had to go see it for work. And I was like, "Just come on, maybe you'll like it." And she loved it. I mean, guys, I'm not kidding. The soundtrack to Wicked has been playing in my house every single day for the last month. Okay. My wife loves this show. She loves this movie. And a lot of her Christmas gifts were related to it. So I have spent a lot of money on this movie. And I love that. I love that my wife loves it because I love my wife and I like when things make her happy. But at the end of the day, I like Wicked. I don't like Cynthia Erivo. So many question whether Erivo has overshadowed the show's original vision by recasting Wicked in terms of her personal experiences, particularly concerning race and sexuality. Now, an actor's job is to erase the self and become someone else entirely. If you're not erasing who you are under the green, then you're just being Cynthia Erivo and not being Elphaba. That then isn't acting. It's self-aggrandizing and posturing, and it does a disservice to fans of the show who want to see the character first brought to life on stage by Idina Menzel. But on a recent episode of Variety's Awards Circuit podcast, she once again spoke about how personal this project is for her. So she was talking about her album that's coming out. She's doing an original music album, which is going to coincide with the release. So the moment she calls the Wicked journey personal, questions arise. Traditionally, characters like Elphaba resonate with many people for various reasons, feeling green or different in a multitude of ways. But Erivo's interpretation runs the risk of reducing this universality by putting her own story center stage. I know what it feels to walk into a room where people don't want you to be there. Yeah, but it's not because you're a black lady or because you're queer. It's because you're terrible. You're a horrible person. You're mean and nasty. You have a huge record in the stage world for being a nightmare. All right, I've heard so many things from people saying that she's terrible to stagehands. She's terrible to anyone she views as being underneath her. So yeah, if you walk into a room and people don't want you to be there, it's not because of who you are. It's because of what you do. It's because you're a jerk. I know it feels like to be bullied, to feel rejected, to feel like you're not loved. Bringing those memories to the surface wasn't easy, but it was necessary to show Elphaba's vulnerability and resilience. Of course, cue Ariana Grande with the hand rubbing. Of course, actors often draw from personal experiences to inform their performances. Nothing new about that. That can lead to powerful portrayals. However, Wicked's story is not solely about Cynthia Erivo or her real life challenges. By emphasizing her personal parallels so strongly, Erivo appears to funnel the narrative into a singular, hyper personal direction. And this begs the question, where is the line between an actor's personal interpretation and overriding the broader themes of the story? Erivo revealed that she worked with Wicked composer Stephen Schwartz to create an original song for Elphaba that will be featured in the sequel film. I collaborated on one of the new songs, and it's so special to me. Me. It's special to me. When we filmed it, the entire crew was in tears. I hope audiences are ready. It's a song that speaks to the heart of who Elphaba is. I wonder, does it speak to the heart of who Elphaba is? Or does it speak to the heart of who Cynthia Erivo is? Because in her mind, I guarantee you those two things are the same thing. Now, of course, Stephen Schwartz is the beloved composer behind the iconic Wicked score. He's a genius. Fans have cherished his music for years, but now, with Erivo co-writing, there's concern that this new track may be less about Elphaba's deeper, long-established character and more about Cynthia Erivo's personal trials and triumphs. When she says, "It's so special to me," it raises the suspicion that we may hear a song more reminiscent of Erivo's autobiographical musings than the nuanced collective story fans expect. She also teased that the sequel has a darker and more mature tone. Now, here's the thing. This movie's going to have new songs in it because Act 2 of Wicked, which is what this movie is, there ain't much going on. Not at all. Like, Act 2 of Wicked is pretty sparse. There's no big, like, you don't have Popular. You don't have Defying Gravity. You don't have One Short Day or The Wizard and I. You don't have these big, huge numbers. You've got For Good in the very beginning, and that's going to open the movie probably. You've got You've got For Good, which they named the movie after, which is, a good song, but it's not a showstopper. It's a melodic, slow song. And you've got my favorite song from the show, which is No Good Deed, which is a big showstopper. And, I just hope that she can pull that one off because Idina Menzel perfected it. We're diving deeper into the consequences of these characters' choices. The story is richer and the stakes are higher. It's not just a continuation, it's a transformation. Sequel's going to follow the second act. And as we said, yep, all this, that, and the other thing. And then we talk again about her, reacting to the stupid poster. So, guys, I put this is one of our old videos, specifically on her saying that she was the best Elphaba because, of her race and sexuality. So make sure you go check that out, guys. Guys, I want to know what you think. Did you like Wicked? Did you see it? Do you like Cynthia Erivo? Am I wrong? Am I just reading too much into that? I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh my gosh, she makes everything about her," and I agree with them. So, that's the perspective that I come from on this. But if I'm wrong, I'm not so steadfast in my belief that I can just, ignore valid criticism. So, if you guys think I'm wrong, let me know respectfully, and we'll have a dialogue about it. But I want to know what you guys hear. Sound off in the comment section below and let me know. So Cynthia Erivo was outraged by the mere idea that she got this role, which by her own admission she's uniquely qualified for because of her race and sexuality, Not only that, but she's going to be putting so much more of herself and her journey into her sequel because they're going to be singing her song. Now, as I said before, I liked Wicked Part 1. I liked the Broadway show. I thought the movie was well done as far as musicals go, and more importantly, Mrs. Movie Monster loved it, and I love seeing her happy. But I worry for the sequel now if we're just going to be getting more Cynthia Erivo injected into every element of it. I'm not interested in any song she's written unless the lyrics are Ariana Grande completely outshines me every second we're on screen together, la-da-dee, fiddle-dee-dee. Simply put, the audience has chilled out on Wicked, and what was once supposed to be a financial slam dunk now looks like it's going to just end up being a moderate victory for Universal. Now, Wicked For Good can succeed in spite of Cynthia Erivo, but it can't allow this shallow, vapid narcissist to overshadow the script, the score, the story, and her co-stars. They also probably shouldn't let it talk in public or have social media over the next 10 months. Thanks for watching, and a special thanks goes out to our Tooneytown TV channel members. You guys are the backbone of this channel, and for that, we thank you. It's special content like our members-only live stream, Mondays at 3 p.m. Now, for New Year's week, due to a family commitment, I'll be rescheduling it to later in the week, but we'll be back at our regular day and time next week. You also get early access to videos like this one, so if you're not a member of the Tooneytown TV channel, join today. Oh, and make sure you don't miss Tooney Talk TV, our live stream pop culture podcast every Thursday night at 8 p.m. EST, where you can interact with me directly and make your voice heard as a part of the Tooneytown community. If you liked what you saw here today, please like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell icon to get notified of new videos as they drop. From all of us here at the Tooneytown channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Knock it out of here!